Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Ramblin' Michigander. Today we're talking about a few things. Firstly, I bought a new microphone that mounts on top of the GoPro. It's got a supposedly stereo recording, but most importantly, it's got windsocks, so hopefully that'll prevent wind noise because that's been a problem up until now. Second of all, you may have noticed the new intro. I purchased a couple of different programs. Up until now, I've been using Windows Movie Maker for all my videos, which is very limited in its capabilities. I think I've done pretty well so far, all things considered. But I went ahead and I bought Adobe Premiere as well as Photoshop. So those will give me a lot more capability, including picture-in-picture and video overlay and things like that. So that's going to make my videos a lot more dynamic. Now, the next thing on the note is that, as I talked about early on, the windows on the van, as you can see, the rubber along the outside edges has either come off or it's shrunken down, so there's not a whole lot left around the edges of the windows. Now, fortunately, the rubber that goes around these windows, which is called glazing, is not watertight. This rubber does not prevent water from leaking in. It's really just decorative, so I have not been in a rush to get it replaced. However, I did recently find some new rubber. It was a difficult task finding the right stuff, where to get it. There's very little information out there, but I found a website. I'll put the link down into the description of where I bought this stuff, and you can get several different types there to suit your needs. And so what I've gone ahead and just pulled the old window glazing out. This is really just a short length because I wanted to make sure it fits before I buy some for the rest of the vehicle. And basically all you do is, there's a channel right in here. You can see that the way it's shaped. See, and this part right here goes down in that little channel, and this little ledge here catches on the window frame to hold it in. So you don't need any glue or anything that I've found. Looks like they used some kind of glue in here before, but I'm not going to use any right now. I'm just going to go ahead and fit it in. See, it's a really tight fit. You just work it in there. You can use a tool if you want, or just your fingers. I probably should be using a tool, especially around the edges here. So it's pretty much that simple. You just push it in as it goes around. It kind of locks itself in. You can use an adhesive if you want, although I don't think it's necessary. It's a pretty tight fit. And there you have it. You can see it doesn't quite fit at the end because there's some kind of a metal mechanism right there, probably the hinge for the window. So I got to cut it a little better to fit in there, but it's a nice fit all the way around. The corners here were the hardest part to get in because of the way it turns, and you got to jam it down in there at the same time. But you see, I got to finish cleaning the window, but see, it's a nice fit all the way around. And again, same deal up in the corner here. But you can see this gap here. I suspect that's because this piece has shrunken as well and pulled away. This one up top isn't as bad. They got a gap here for water to run down. This piece actually isn't too bad. I might caulk maybe not in here, but this area, the caulk has shrunk and pulled away, so I got to re-caulk this. But I don't think I'll replace this rubber because there's really nothing wrong with it. There's no point in pulling it out and replacing it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that. But now that I know that this rubber fits, I can go ahead and order more to do the rest of the windows. I'm really happy with how this worked out. It took me a lot of research to find the right type of rubber. So if you got the same problem in your RV, you can go to the website down in the description, and it'll most likely they'll have what you need. Now the next thing I want to talk about is the paint. On my last video, I talked about the possibility of raptor lining the entire van, and that's still very likely going to happen. A lot of you expressed trepidation about covering the whole van in bed liner. It seemed odd to you, and I understand the concern. I was pretty skeptical about it myself, but I know it's going to look good if it, assuming it's a good product. That's the thing I'm worried about. Is the Raptor as good a product as it seems to be? All the research I've done, all the videos I've seen, all the reviews I've read say that it is. So I'm cautiously optimistic that it's going to be a good product. But I want to show you some of the problems and why I'm thinking of spraying the whole thing. You can see these running boards are the worst part. See how cracked it is, and it's coming off in areas, and the edges are real rough and got adhesive on there. I can probably grind that off. That's from the trim piece that used to be along here. But the only way to really fix these is to completely sand them down bare, get all the paint off and repaint them, and that's a lot of work, and I'm not very good with paint. See, these are coming off. I got to fix that, and there's just buildup of gunk down here. But even besides the running boards, the rest of it is looking pretty bad. You got big scratches and stuff on the doors that aren't going to come off unless you repaint. All over the place you got this kind of thing happening with paint chips coming off just from poor paint job, I guess. And the only way to fix that is to completely repaint it, which is obscenely expensive. Some of the areas, the paint has got this gray flaking going on from being covered in gunk for probably about 10 years and never being washed. See, this area where it's just original metal is not too bad. It might be able to be polished up. But then you get to the back here, and other than the dirt that's on it, see, this isn't dirt. This is actually in the paint, all this grayness, and it's not going to come off. There's nothing you can do to get rid of this except for sanding it down and repainting. And that's just completely out of the question. It's just paint. Auto paint is so expensive. If I were to have this thing completely repainted, it'd probably be about, I don't know, $8,000, I'm guessing. So I think what I'm going to do this year is bed liner the running boards. Probably do them in black, I think. I think black would look good. Plus, it'll hide the dirt. Line those in black and leave it for a year and see how well the product works. If the product works for a year and doesn't start coming off, flaking off and everything, and it's still on there nice and strong, then I know it's a good product. Then I can start looking into doing the rest of it. So that's why I'm talking about doing it. Not because the thing doesn't look good going down the road, because I think from a distance, it looks pretty good. But I'm up close and personal, and I'm seeing all the defects. Every time I use the thing, I'm seeing all these ugly defects, and it's starting to get to me. So I'd really like to get it fixed. You see in here, the paint is all coming off. There's no paint left. That's going to rust eventually, and little things like that kind of get to you. So that's why I'm talking about respraying the whole thing with bed liner to really make it durable, rugged. It'll look real good. I can do any color I want, and it'll last me for years. So that's my thought process. I guess we'll see how it works out. Okay, I guess that's all for today. I wanted to do more, but it's still kind of too cold out, and the sun's going down already. This winter is really dragging on. I'm just holding on, waiting for spring because I want to get back to work. Michigan gave us a little 60-degree teaser last weekend, and so now I'm really itching to get started, but it's cold again, and it's probably going to be another month or so before it gets warm enough to do any real work. Some of the major projects this year are going to be the toilet. I've gone ahead and ordered that already. It should be here in the next day or two. And the carpet, I'm going to replace that. Most likely what's going to happen is I'm going to have some kind of a vinyl flooring from the the bed to the side door, and then for the front seating area, I'll probably do more of the bed liner. I think that'll work really well up there because the flooring place didn't sell anything flexible enough to go over the wheel wells. So I think the bed liner will spray on nicely and be sturdy and easy to clean. So that'll be good. Carpeting in an RV is a bad idea, so I'm getting rid of that anyway because it stinks. Also, I'd really like to maybe put an awning on this year, although I'm not sure it's even going to work because I've got those side windows up there above the doors, which means the awning would have to go on above those. In order to put an awning up there, I'd have to have something that can be opened and closed with maybe a hand crank on a long stick because I'm too short to reach up there. I don't want to have to get a ladder out every time I want to open my awning, so that's still a maybe at this point. I also am thinking of maybe putting air suspension under the rear end to try and stabilize her a little bit because it's a little bit too heavy to have just single tires. It really should be dualies on the back. You know, a lot of these Explorers do have dualies, and she's only got singles. So I might end up putting a little bit more support under there. Well, that's all a matter of money, really, at this point. So we're going to see what happens this year. Anyway, as usual, thanks for watching. If you want to see more content and between video updates, go to Facebook, facebook.com/ramblingmichigander, and follow me there. If you want to contribute and be a part of this, you can go to GoFundMe.com, check out our campaign, throw me a few bucks, might help a little bit to get more work done on the Queen faster. As it is, that's all for today. Hopefully more videos to come as soon as the weather starts to cooperate with me. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.